Testile risa. Tereng anzu inde ani chibipelo leching ya simo chamala chamdi testile. Ani tereng anzu di nanglo la teplo nge di ani anzu lama tinzi riksa la ta ani inji la robo chingi ki ani chring adun la phere. Ani tereng anzu ge pilo thangbo de la anzu pilo gen ra tereng de la ani namgyun la na shin ge anzu ge thanda inde shin de ne khang de ani anzu pugu lo sum ne chin ani pugu lo judyman lo judyman de dikima la ani pugu so ani program khari kari ko me di nanglo la ngazu tamda yore ani kisi kya so ge ani kisi ngazu nanglo la lerim khari yo me ta ani kya so ki goya khari yo me ngazu dus chin thioti le oina ngazu gi ani modep gyune le na digire di mayin ba ngazu thage gyune khaba anda dus tere ani dus chin teo chero chi ani so reason la ta ngazu phi di lo go chuin ra thangbo de la reason test le
Ashtelagela.
reason de wen ba
Doyin.
reason thring ngazu dung lo thema khajure kyangi ma ngema khajulo thema sumba ro thring thema niwa oh okay thema niwa let's reason thring ngazu gi dung lo di khari kan la de
Pecha.
pheja ra thring ngazu ani dung lo di ani ngazu thomo main pe pheja ra ngazu pheja an inji thola na Tibetan butter tea ra this keda yor dara ji da ngazu pheja de ra ani kya pheja tong ni ya reason
Pecha Tungiyo.
동기에 라 녜마 동기에 말이네 가장 아주기 둥데딜로 고츠네 소나니 리상기 페이지 토와다라 그래서 리상 아니 두시 둥 로에 고츠기 간달레도 아니 남규나 신경 아주 탄다 둥데디 탄다 시리 바강네 두시네니 파tin 슈레 아니 아주 두시네 로에 고츠기 리상라 아니 아주 케체스 겐데네 마직 로로샬라
Okay. Nima chik yang chen tang chiding nang tu. Chik po de.
니마치 칼라소 양진다 지링이 낭도 지보데 레스트라 크라니 스피더스 한 관념도 심제직도 심제수를 수도 디나냠도 양지다 지링냠도 수도
Shimi.
지미도 라 크라니 시미라가오에서 비상큐라 시미라가오에 키라가오에
Kilagabuye.
그냥 키라가오에 오케이 그냥 리모트라가오에 데 크라니 리모티데시 그래서 디젤라
Yang chen chatung de chunware.
양치 가르쳐야 돼 봐지래 그런 차통해야 돼 봐총레스라 도치네 아니 그런 가르쳐서
Chatam nangla cha yut mare.
딱 이네 차통에 들어도 이네 차담 나로도 차민도 오케이 아니 양치 퀄리티서
Yang chen tapsang nangla pecha super chin pare.
양치 두시 아니 탑장 나라 페이지스 오더레스라 양치 탑장 나라 그런 탑장 나 칼라서 두여리상
Dugiye.
삼자 두여
Acham.
아니 뭐 같이서 매 하얀낭
Me hayang nang chuluk ne tapla me tang ware.
매 하얀나 출루네 매 땅와레스
Me cha kampo barmo kang hayang nang la lu.
매 차kambo 아니 바마칸라나 두스 라과칸 칼레 하얀나로 루레스 하얀라나 카레레
Utensil.
하얀 빼 망고도 아디에 라라 탑장나 하얀 여라 아니 뭐디 차 나루스와 아니 디젤라 매 찬동나
Me cha dong nang la oma tang marlu.
매 찬동나라 오마탕 마르로레스 라서
Yang chen ki dong me nang tu cha chak bare.
아니 두신 차고 차로와 그렇잖아요 아니 뭐랑 찾아지킬래네 아니 찾아야 고주레스와
Me dong me nang la cha 수바레.
아니 뭐 동무 나로라 차수베 고조레스라 차드 수데도 양친기 아니 가지서
까요 니낭라 찰룩.
뭐 까유니 나라 차루레스 까유라나
컵.
더 까유니 가라 차루스와 아니 디젤라 링기 가틀라서
치링 키 차디 심포 차민두 라바레.
치링기 차디 신부차민들라레 가르치는 신부차야 말에 삼고다 결혼
차. 차.
차루에 템바제라 고랑기 차루에 템바제다 온데 제냐니 가래 차디 신부차민들라 바레스 아니 양친기
양친 키 찰라 차 야구 제둑세.
양친기 잘라 아니 차루에 템바제도 표자나 차 말루나 신부시라요 말다 이내래 족잘래 쇼랑 저 족받은저 차수라 온디 아니 표자더로라 이내래 차루기 말라 이내 단다 지강기 표자나 마차이 차루고도 아니 차 루에 템바제도 아니 고랑 신부민들라도 아니 디젤라
까요 낭라 차 야바레.
무카유 나라 아니 차기야 바레스 두친 차루소아 까유지 까유 나라 차루 아니 치링기 같이서
치링 키 차탐 낭라 차 야바레.
치링기 바람 나라 두친 차기야레스 레서
양친 탐 치링 키 페차 심포 둥바레.
아니 코라니 차신부 진네 동레스라 아니 리산 교라 페잘라 가오야
페차라 거부메.
가보메 라 아니 가상 안주 두친네 탭로 데디 안주 중딜로 데디 아니 리산 라기 아니 페자낭로 카리카리로 보이메 코란 하코라 아니 리산 라코란 페자직스기 라스라 아니 리산기 안주 페자직스로 온딩 안주 냠도 따기 리산 라기 페자스교 비디오데라 오케이 냠도 따긴다 디 아니 리산기 페자스교레 아니 카리카스 참아 땡거다 신부청사 리산
신부두.
신부청사스라 리산 교란 페자스디 당보당 뭐 가릴로이 안주 라다
차. 나 탐보
당보 안주 하얀 나로
하얀 낭라 출루 탑라
탑라 쭉 아니 메
메 당와
땅거라 아니 하얀 나 추낭로 가릴로래
차감부
자간불로라 자간불로 아니 야거라 아니 간주 아니 찬동낭로 가릴로래
말 오마 차.
마다 오말로차 아니 자 그사이질라 아니 찬동낭로 가르쳐래
차바.
찬동나 출룩 라 찬동나 출룩 아니 찬동나 루 아니 차두두스제 짜제 아니 간주 괄로래 자 가지오래 자
수바.
수고라 차두신 숲 아니 간주 차담나 루라 차담나 루자이질라 가유나 루라 아니 제마 아니 그라주 카레 나나 줌바딘데레나레 안 주마야 그라 카레 파마투제라 랑기 차수라 발람라 차수 인두신 차데라 라소리 상교 항상 야보스스 그랑기 다링데라 둥로 마체라 그랑 카르스레 아니 베제 수당신로다 베제 수당신레 아니 베제 저 간데 메신라 리상 투제체나 아니 주마야 가족이 칼라 심바직 수당 정긴다 라리상 안 다린데라 kan pyeja 수당 장레 아니 표 중로레 아니 항상 야부치선 리상 투지체나 아니 kan 인지야 홀로샤 러
라소.
그래서 리상 투지체
Hi, Riksang. That was
Hi.
such a neat video. I don't think I've ever seen such a small Tibetan tea churner. Where did you get that from?
My mom brought it. I think she brought it from her brother.
Oh, okay. That's probably something that many Tibetan American families have. I remember in our house, we used to have a big traditional Tibetan churner that was as tall as I was at the time, probably as tall as you are. And we used to use that to make the Tibetan tea, but that plastic churner looks really neat. Do you like to cook at home?
Yeah,
You do? What else do you like to make?
fried rice, burgers.
Oh, do you add
and-
egg in your fried rice?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that you and other people are doing a lot more cooking at home because of COVID, right? Right now, we're in such a strange time in not only in our lives, but in the history of the world, really. So the article that we're going to read is a Time for Kids article. It's about the current time, the current situation we are in, which is really, going to be part of history. So for years to come, they will always talk about the coronavirus pandemic and how that impacted everybody's lives, in these years. So we're really part of history if you think about it. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
okay.
Can you see the article?
Yes.
Okay. So this is another article from Time for Kids, and Time magazine is one of the most popular magazines out there, and they create special articles just for kids. So we're going to go ahead and read this. So this article is called Making History. So here's a bunch of different buttons. You can see washing hands, social distancing. All right. Bridget Pulskamp has made hundreds of face masks for the people of the Navajo Nation. The tribe inhabits parts of Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. Pulskamp wants us to remember the story of how the Navajo weathered the pandemic. Our people are resilient, she told Time for Kids. They have always learned to adapt.
To make sure the story is told, Postcap has donated masks to the Autry Museum of American West in Los Angeles, California. In April, the museum issued a call for face masks, family recipes, and stories about how the pandemic was affecting people's lives.
So here you can see some of the face masks that she's created with traditional Navajo designs. You can see the beading work done here and those cool ribbons that are hanging off from the side. What are some of the most creative face masks you've seen?
Some of the creative masks I've seen was masks with skulls, masks with flags of the country.
Mm-hmm. Do you think masks have become a way for people to show their culture or to show their interests or hobbies?
Yes.
Kind of like clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite mask look like?
My favorite mask is like a plain black mask with a white design.
Mm-hmm. And why do you like it? You just like the design or because it's comfortable?
It's comfortable and kind of thin so that it's easy to wear.
Yeah, and easy to breathe too, right? Because if it's too thick, it's hard to breathe. All right, so yeah, this is slowly becoming everybody's new normal now, and people are starting to get creative with the face masks. The Autry is not alone. Museums everywhere are collecting items to capture this historic moment as it's happening. Long after the pandemic is over, ordinary things like hand sanitizers and grocery lists will tell historians how we experience this life-changing event. So sometimes when you go to a museum, maybe the Museum of American History, for example, here in Washington, D.C., you can see a lot of things, advertisements or billboards, or mannequins dressed up in the way people did a long time ago, or even in the 1950s. So you can just only imagine, in many years from now, what the exhibits will look like when they talk about the pandemic of 2020 to 2021. You'll probably see lots of hand sanitizer. What else do you think there would be in the exhibit?
A lot of masks and gloves.
Yeah, definitely. And also signs that say keep 6 feet apart, keep a distance of 6 feet apart, or maybe signs that say, you know, only one person inside at a time, things like that. All right, go ahead and read this paragraph.
We tend to think history is something that happened 20, 30, 100 years ago, says Aaron Bryant, a curator at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. In Washington, D.C., the museum is documenting pandemic life, but history happens before our eyes every single day.
Picture this. Eventually, museums hope to acquire things like medical equipment, social distancing signs, and hand washing posters. For now, they're mostly collecting digital artifacts like photographs.
Maria Hangstrup is a curator at Vestemmerlands Museum in Denmark. When lockdown began during March 2020, she grabbed her camera. I walked around my hometown taking photos of actually what did not happen, she says, and Hangstrup photos and in others submitted to a museum. Places normally filled with people, a road business, a supermarket aisle are deserted. Where there are people, they're several feet apart or separated by a window.
So here you have an image of a family coming to visit what looks like a grandparent in a nursing home. So they can't go inside to deliver the flowers or to hug them or to chat. They have to communicate with them at a far distance. There was a feeling of great loneliness everywhere, Hagstrup says, but there are lighter moments too. A dentist in equipment that looks like something from space, she says, or people singing from their balconies.
Personal stories. Some institutions are asking people to share their stories. The California Historical Society has received personal entries from kids.
Xiomara?
Xiomara, 13, from Marina, California, had described staying home during the pandemic. She has missed her grandmother. I like to let her know that I love her and care for her, Xiomara wrote. I could do that through the phone, but it's just not the same as hugging someone and spending the day with them.
Is there anybody in your life that you can't wait to see after this is over?
My grandma?
And do you stay in touch with her, like through the phone or any other way?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I'm sure she misses you also, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure a lot of people who are watching right now and a lot of people out there, are looking forward to the day that this ends and we can reunite with loved ones and family and friends and just go back to normal again.
Yes.
Stories like this will help future generations understand the emotional impact of the pandemic, says CHS reference librarian and archivist Frances Kaplan. People are not shying away from personal details, she says. They are being extremely open.
That's what museums are counting on. History is made by ordinary people and their everyday lives, Bryant says. Even ordinary things like face masks can reflect the history in an important way.
So here you have a photo of two sisters who are stuck at home and getting creative. So, a lot of daycares, a lot of schools, like you said, your school is closed. So a lot of kids are learning and playing at home all day while their parents are trying to work as well. So that can be really challenging. What's your story? How has your life changed during the pandemic? Historians want to know how people are spending their time, what challenges they face, and what brings them moments of joy.
Librarians, historical societies, and museums in your area might have websites where you can submit your account of life during the pandemic. You may also be able to share pictures of pandemic-related objects. These might include grocery lists or art projects you have created while you're at home.
So what is something that you think a museum could exhibit to represent what kids like you are going through? What do you think they should include in their exhibition?
They should include like what kids do at home when the pandemic is here.
Mm-hmm. Like what would represent that?
Like books or like things they use when they're at home.
Like playing books, or what about their laptops? I'm sure a lot of kids are doing more work on the laptop now that school is closed, right?
Mhm.
So maybe some of those platforms that you're using for online learning, that would probably be, a really good representation of what you guys have to do every single day now that you're not in school, right? And what else would you show? I mean, you said face masks and maybe social distancing signs. What other things do you think would be, interesting, like 100 years from now, another kid your age is going to the museum and wants to see what life really was like? What do you think they should see?
Oh, like right now they're making vaccines,
Oh, yeah.
and that they could show a picture of people waiting in line to get the vaccine and
Yeah.
how it looks like.
Yeah, definitely. There are some long lines of people standing in line, or even cars, many cars piled up to get that shot. And right now, a lot of people are just waiting online too to get an appointment, because not everybody can get an appointment, right? So yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that historians can collect, and it'll be interesting to tell the next, to future generations about this experience we are all going through. So wonderful job reading this article, and great job on the Tibetan as well. I think that there's an art project that you wanted to share
Yes.
about your time in the pandemic. Maybe we can share that.
Okay.
All right. Do we have volume?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Okay.
That's beautiful. Rigsang, do you want to tell us what's happening in that video?
Yes. In the video, me and my sister are making a place like nomads, and we're making the nomads settling down on a place with the yaks and the tung-tungs, and that they're having fun, and that they're staying there for a little while. So they brought the tents,
That's
and
beautiful.
that there's a lot of animals.
And where did you get the idea for the different designs and different objects that you put on your art? Did you look at photos or do some research?
I looked at photos.
That's amazing. And your sister, is she your older sister
She's my younger sister.
or your younger sister? Oh, okay. So that's great. You guys have each other during this pandemic. So you have someone else to hang out with and do kinds of arts and crafts. What else do you guys like to do at home?
We like to draw or like play games
Mm-hmm. What kind of games?
like chess.
Oh, you know how to play chess?
Yes,
Where did you learn?
from my dad.
Oh, that's so neat. That's a really good game and good skill to have. So, and that art project was really neat too. Is that part of a school project or part of YindaYin's schoolwork?
Indian schoolwork.
And what was the assignment?
It was to make a harmonic grassland.
Harmonic grassland. Okay, so that's where the nomads tend to work and live, right? They go from grassland to grassland, settling in different places for a short amount of time and then moving. So that's beautiful visual and beautiful art that you and your sister did. So thanks for sharing that with us. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any message you'd like to send to your friends who are watching right now?
Mm, I hope you're having a great time, and I hope you stay safe.
Mm-hmm. Great. And I think that, maybe that the fact that, you are using your time to spend with your family and your sister and to do all kinds of things, tried new recipes, trying, new arts and crafts and learning chess from your dad. I think all of that really shows that we can use this time to our advantage, even though it's a really difficult time, but we can do a lot of things we may not have normally had the time to do or thought about doing or learning. So really taking advantage of this time, staying at home and being with our loved ones, right? So
Mhm.
that's an important point as well. Thank you so much for sharing your art and reading the stories with us today. And thanks everybody for tuning in today to YindaYin's reading story time. We are here every Thursday at 6 o'clock. So look forward to seeing you next week.